Echoes of the unknown. The vastness of space stretched out before Sarah Chen as she peered through the reinforced viewport of the astrolabe, Earth's most advanced deep-space research vessel. Her dark eyes, flecked with gold, reflected the glittering stars as she absently twirled a strand of her jet-black hair around her finger. As the ship's lead xenobiologist, Sarah had been handpicked for this mission to investigate an anomalous signal emanating from the outer reaches of the solar system. Dr. Chen, we're approaching the coordinates. Captain Reeves's voice crackled over the intercom, interrupting Sarah's contemplation. Any changes in the signal? Sarah glanced at her holographic display, frowning slightly. Negative, Captain. The signal remains constant, but... She trailed off, her brow furrowing as she studied the readouts. But what, Doctor? Reeves pressed. There's something off about it. The patterns don't match any known natural phenomena. It's almost as if... Sarah's voice caught in her throat as a sudden realization dawned on her. Captain, I think we need tow. Her words were cut short as the astrolabe shuddered violently. Alarms blared throughout the ship, and the emergency lights flashed an angry red. Sarah stumbled, barely managing to grab onto a nearby console to steady herself. What's happening? She shouted over the cacophony of alarms and creaking metal. Captain Reeves's voice came through again, tight with tension. Unknown energy signature detected. It's pulling us in. Sarah's heart raced as she watched in horror as a shimmering, opalescent vortex materialized directly in front of the astrolabe. The ship's engines whined in protest as they fought against the inexorable pull of the anomaly. All hands, brace for impact, Reeves commanded. Sarah closed her eyes, gripping the console tightly as the astrolabe was sucked into the swirling maw of light. For a moment, everything seemed to stretch and distort around her. Her body felt as though it was being pulled apart and compressed simultaneously. Then, as quickly as it began, it was over. Silence fell over the ship. Sarah cautiously opened her eyes, gasping at the sight that greeted her. Through the viewport, she saw not the familiar stars of their solar system, but an alien sky filled with swirling nebulae and unfamiliar constellations. Is everyone all right? Sarah called out, her voice shaky. A chorus of groans and affirmatives echoed through the ship. As the crew regained their bearings, a new alarm began to sound. Multiple unidentified vessels approaching, the tactical officer announced, his voice laced with panic. Sarah rushed to the main bridge, arriving just in time to see a fleet of sleek, silver ships surrounding the astrolabe. Their design was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, organic yet mechanical, with pulsing bioluminescent veins running along their hulls. They're hailing us, Communications Officer Zhang reported, her fingers dancing over her console. Captain Reeves straightened his uniform, taking a deep breath. On screen. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that made Sarah's scientific mind reel with excitement and trepidation. The alien was humanoid in overall shape, but that's where the similarities ended. Its skin was a shifting tapestry of iridescent scales, and 4 deep-set eyes regarded them with an unsettling intelligence. When it spoke, its voice seemed to resonate directly in their minds. Beings of the primitive vessel, the alien intoned, its mental voice carrying an air of authority and disdain. You have trespassed into the sovereign territory of the Zarkonian Imperium. Prepare to be boarded and assessed. Before anyone could respond, a shimmering field of energy enveloped the astrolabe, rendering all systems inert. Sarah felt a strange tingling sensation wash over her body, and the world around her began to fade. The last thing she saw before losing consciousness was the imposing figure of a Zarkonian materializing on the bridge, its 4 eyes fixed directly on her. Sarah awoke with a start, her head pounding. She found herself in a chamber unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls pulsed with an otherworldly bioluminescence, and the air hummed with an energy she could feel in her bones. As her vision cleared, she realized she wasn't alone. Standing before her was the most impressive Zarkonian she had seen yet. Taller than the others, with scales that shimmered like polished obsidian, it radiated an aura of command. 4 eyes, each a different hue, studied her with an intensity that made Sarah feel like a specimen under a microscope. "I am Commander Selthor," the alien's voice resonated in her mind. "You'll explain your presence in our space, human." Sarah swallowed hard, forcing herself to meet the commander's gaze. "My name is Dr. Sarah Chen. We didn't mean to intrude. Our ship was investigating an anomalous signal when we were pulled through some kind of portal." Selthor's eyes narrowed, 2 of them blinking in what Sarah assumed was a sign of surprise or disbelief. A portal? Impossible. The void gates had been dormant for millennia. Void gates? Sarah couldn't help but ask, her scientific curiosity momentarily overriding her fear. The commander regarded her for a long moment before responding. "Ancient technology, left behind by those who came before. We thought them nothing more than relics, yet you claim to have activated one." Sarah shook her head. "Not intentionally. We were simply studying the signal when—" "Enough," Selthor interrupted. "Your arrival has stirred the cosmic tides, human. The Imperium must know more." The commander's gaze intensified, and Sarah felt a pressure building in her mind. "You will share your knowledge. All of it." Panic surged through Sarah as she realized what was happening. The Zarkonian was attempting to probe her mind. She gritted her teeth, focusing all her will on protecting her thoughts, on safeguarding the secrets of Earth and its people. To her amazement, the mental assault faltered. Selthor's eyes widened in what could only be described as shock. "Impossible," the commander muttered, the mental voice tinged with a mix of frustration and admiration. "Your mind, it resists." Sarah stood straighter, emboldened by this small victory. "We humans value our privacy, Commander. If you want to know something, you'll have to ask." For a moment, tension crackled in the air between them. Then, to Sarah's surprise, Selthor's mental voice carried a note of amusement. "Fascinating. Perhaps there is more to your species than we initially believed." The commander turned, gesturing for Sarah to follow. "Come, Dr. Chen. It seems we have much to discuss. Your arrival may herald changes that will shake the very foundations of the Imperium." As Sarah followed Selthor out of the chamber and into the vast alien corridors of what she assumed was a Zarkonian ship, her mind raced. She was acutely aware of the danger she and her crew were in, but she couldn't suppress a thrill of excitement. This was first contact, the moment every xenobiologist dreamed of but few ever experienced. And somehow, against all odds, she had managed to intrigue one of the most powerful beings in this alien civilization. As they walked, Sarah caught Selthor glancing back at her, those 4 eyes glimmering with an emotion she couldn't quite decipher. Whatever lay ahead, Sarah knew one thing for certain: humanity's place in the universe was about to change forever. And she, Dr. Sarah Chen, was at the very heart of it all. The quantum nexus. Sarah's footsteps echoed through the cavernous halls of the Zarkonian mothership, her mind reeling from the alien wonders surrounding her. Commander Selthor led her deeper into the vessel, past pulsating biomechanical interfaces and swirling holographic displays that defied human comprehension. "Tell me, Dr. Chen," Selthor's mental voice resonated, "what do you know of quantum entanglement?" Sarah raised an eyebrow, surprised by the question. "It's a phenomenon where particles become interconnected, regardless of distance. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance." Selthor's scales shimmered with what Sarah interpreted as amusement. "Your Einstein barely scratched the surface. Behold." They entered a vast chamber, dominated by a swirling vortex of energy at its center. Streams of data and matter flowed in and out of the anomaly, creating a mesmerizing dance of light and information. "This is the quantum nexus," Selthor explained. "It connects all Zarkonian ships and worlds instantaneously. But lately it's been unstable." Sarah's scientific curiosity overrode her caution. "Unstable how?" Random fluctuations, unpredictable energy spikes. We believe it's connected to the activation of the void gate that brought you here. As if on cue, the nexus pulsed violently. Sarah stumbled, but Selfo steadied her with a surprisingly gentle touch. Their eyes met, and for a moment, Sarah felt a strange connection, as if their minds brushed against each other. Fascinating, Selfo murmured. Your species' mental architecture, it's unlike anything we've encountered. Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. The quantum nexus writhed, tendrils of energy lashing out erratically. It's happening again. Selfo shouted, all four eyes widening in alarm. Acting on instinct, Sarah rushed to a nearby console. Her fingers flew over the alien interface, somehow understanding its logic. The energy patterns, they're similar to the signal we detected back home. Selfo watched in amazement as Sarah's actions seemed to calm the nexus. How did you do that? Sarah shook her head, equally baffled. I'm not sure. It's like the math just made sense. The commander studied her with newfound intensity. Perhaps your arrival was no accident, Dr. Chen. The ancient prophecies speak of a bridge between realms. Could you be? The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a group of Zarcomian officials, led by an imposing figure whose scales gleamed with an almost metallic sheen. High Counselor Zavrek, Selfo greeted, bowing slightly. Zavrek's mental voice boomed with authority. Explain this disturbance, Commander. And why is this human accessing our systems? As Selfo began to explain, Sarah noticed something odd. Beneath the quantum nexus, almost hidden from view, a small device pulsed with an eerie light. Following her gaze, Selfo's eyes narrowed. What is that? Sarah whispered. Before Selfo could respond, Zavrek interjected. Nothing of your concern, human. Commander, confine this creature to the detention level. We'll discuss your lapse in judgment later. As Zarconian guards moved to seize her, Sarah locked eyes with Selfo. In that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. Something wasn't right, and they both knew it. Wait, Selfo commanded, surprising everyone. Dr. Chen has shown remarkable insight into the Nexus's behavior. I propose we utilize her expertise. Zavrek's mental voice dripped with disdain. You overstep, Commander. This human is a security risk, nothing more. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. The quantum nexus flared, and for a split second, Sarah saw something impossible. A glimpse of Earth, her home, reflected in the swirling energies. The nexus is collapsing, someone shouted. In the chaos that followed, Sarah felt Selfo's hand on her arm. Come with me, the commander's mental voice urged. I fear there's more at stake than just our two species. As alarms blared and the ship buckled around them, Sarah made a split-second decision. She nodded, allowing Selfo to lead her away from the pandemonium. They raced through twisting corridors, the ship's bioluminescent veins pulsing erratically. Where are we going? Sarah asked, breathless. To find answers, Selfo replied cryptically. And to show you something that might change everything you think you know about the universe. They arrived at a hidden chamber, its walls lined with ancient symbols that seemed to shift and change as Sarah looked at them. At the center stood a device that looked almost human in origin. Impossible, Sarah breathed. Selfo's mental voice was grim. Dr. Chen, welcome to the heart of the greatest secret in the galaxy. A secret that I believe you were destined to uncover. As the ship continued to tremor around them, Sarah realized she was standing at the precipice of a mystery that spanned not just space, but time itself. Whatever came next would redefine the very nature of humanity's place in the cosmos. And somehow, she knew that her connection with Selfo would be the key to unraveling it all. Quantum entanglement of souls. The ancient chamber hummed with an otherworldly energy as Sarah stood before the mysterious device, her mind racing to comprehend its implications. Selfo's four eyes glowed with an intensity that matched the pulsing symbols on the walls. What you see before you, Dr. Chen, Zelfor's mental voice resonated, is the Nexus Cipher, a relic left behind by the precursors, those who came before both our species. Sarah circled the device, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. Its design was a baffling fusion of human and Zarkonian technology, as if it had been crafted by hands from both worlds. But that's impossible, Sarah muttered. Humanity hasn't even left our solar system yet. Zelfor's scales shimmered with what Sarah had come to recognize as amusement. Time, Dr. Chen, is not the linear construct your species believes it to be. Before Sarah could process this revelation, the ship shuddered violently. The symbols on the walls flared, and Sarah felt a strange tugging sensation in her mind. The quantum nexus is destabilizing, Zelfor explained urgently. If we don't act soon, the fabric of space-time itself could unravel. Sarah's hands moved of their own accord, fingers dancing over the Nexus Cipher's interface. Equations and alien glyphs flowed through her mind with startling clarity. How are you doing that? Zelfor asked, all four eyes wide with astonishment. I don't know, Sarah replied, her voice distant as if in a trance. It's like the information is already in my head, waiting to be unlocked. As Sarah worked, the chamber around them began to shift and warp. Reality itself seemed to bend, revealing glimpses of other times and places. In one flickering vision, Sarah saw a futuristic Earth city. In another, a primordial Zarkonian world. The multiverse theory, Sarah gasped. It's real? Zelfor nodded grimly. More than that. The quantum nexus doesn't just connect our ships and worlds, it connects realities. And now it's collapsing. A sudden realization struck Sarah. The signal we detected back home, it wasn't just a spatial anomaly. It was a temporal one too. As if in response to her words, the Nexus Cipher pulsed with blinding light. Sarah felt a searing pain in her temples, and for a moment, her consciousness seemed to expand beyond the confines of her body. In that instant of cosmic awareness, she saw the truth. The Zarkonians and humans weren't just two species meeting by chance. They were two halves of a greater whole, separated by eons of time and space, destined to reunite. Castle Thor, Sarah gasped, her voice echoing with newfound power. We're not just exploring the unknown. We're remembering what was forgotten. The commander's mental voice resonated with a mix of awe and understanding. The prophecy of the bridge between realms, it speaks of two beings, two species, whose union would herald a new era of cosmic harmony. Their eyes met, and in that moment, Sarah felt a connection deeper than any she had ever known. It was as if their very souls were quantumly entangled, transcending the barriers of species and space-time. We need to stabilize the nexus, Sarah said, her hands moving with renewed purpose over the cipher. But we can't do it alone. We need to bridge the gap between our peoples, our realities. Zelfor placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder, and she felt a surge of energy flow between them. Together, then. As they worked in perfect synchronization, the chamber around them became a swirling vortex of cosmic energy. The walls dissolved, revealing the vast expanse of the universe, past, present, and future all coexisting in a breathtaking display. Suddenly, a booming mental voice interrupted their work. High Counselor Zavrek appeared, his form flickering as if caught between realities. Stop this madness, Zavrek commanded. You'll doom us all. But Sarah and Zelfor were beyond hearing. Their minds melded, becoming a singular consciousness that spanned the multiverse. Through their combined will, they reached out to the quantum nexus, seeking to heal the rifts in reality. As the energy reached a crescendo, Sarah had a final, startling vision. She saw herself and Zelfor not as they were now, but as they had been in countless other realities, sometimes human, sometimes Zarkonian, but always together, always working towards this moment of cosmic reunion. With a blinding flash and a thunderous roar that echoed across dimensions, the quantum nexus stabilized. The ship stopped shaking, and the swirling visions of other realities faded. Saga and Salfor collapsed, their minds slowly separating but forever changed by their cosmic communion. As they regained their senses, they found themselves surrounded by awestruck Zarkonians and the bewildered crew of the astrolabe, all brought together by the reality-altering event they had just witnessed. Zavrek, his previous hostility replaced by wonder, approached them. What have you done?" Saga and Salfor exchanged a knowing glance before Saga spoke, her voice carrying the weight of newfound wisdom. "We've taken the first step towards our shared destiny," she said. "Humanity and the Zarkonians aren't meant to be separate. We're two parts of a greater whole, and it's time we remembered that." As the implications of their actions began to ripple across the cosmos, Saga knew that nothing would ever be the same. The adventure that had begun with a mysterious signal had become something far greater, the dawn of a new era for all sentient life in the multiverse. And at the heart of it all stood Saga and Salfor, their destinies irrevocably intertwined, ready to guide their peoples towards a future that transcended the very boundaries of reality itself. Echoes of eternity. The aftermath of the quantum nexus stabilization left both humans and Zarkonians in a state of awe and confusion. Saga and Salfor, their minds still reeling from the cosmic communion they had experienced, found themselves at the center of a maelstrom of questions and suspicions. High Counselor Zavrek, his scales now shimmering with an iridescent glow, a physical manifestation of the reality-altering event, approached them cautiously. "You speak of a shared destiny." Zavrek's mental voice resonated, tinged with a mix of wonder and skepticism. "But how can we trust this unprecedented union?" Saga stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with the residual energy of the Nexus. "Trust isn't given, High Counselor. It's earned, and we have the opportunity to earn it together." Suddenly, the air around them shimmered, and holographic projections sprang to life. They showed scenes from across time and space, humans and Zarkonians working side by side, building wonders that defied imagination. "The chromoscape," Salfor explained, his voice filled with awe. "A temporal mapping of our intertwined destinies." As they watched, the projections shifted, revealing a looming threat, a cosmic anomaly that dwarfed even the instability they had just faced. "The entropy wave," Saga gasped, instinctively understanding the danger it posed. "It's consuming entire realities." Zavrek's eyes widened in alarm. "How long do we have?" "Time is fluid now," Salfor replied, his mental voice grim. "But if we don't act, both our species and countless others will cease to exist." A tense silence fell over the gathered crowd. The magnitude of the threat was clear, but so was the unprecedented nature of their potential alliance. Saga's mind raced, piecing together fragments of knowledge from her cosmic communion. "The precursors," she said suddenly. "They faced this threat before. That's why they created the quantum nexus and the void gates. They were preparing us for this moment." Salfor nodded, his scales pulsing with renewed purpose. But they couldn't face it alone. They needed the combined strength of two species, one born of logic and cosmic awareness, the other of creativity and adaptability. "Zarkonians and humans," Saga finished, a smile of realization spreading across her face. As if in response to their words, the Nexus cipher in the ancient chamber began to pulse with energy. Streams of data flowed from it, coalescing into a holographic blueprint of breathtaking complexity. "The Eternity Engine," Salfor breathed, his mental voice filled with wonder. Saga studied the blueprints, her enhanced mind deciphering its intricacies. "It's a device capable of rewriting the fundamental laws of reality. With this, we could create a barrier against the entropy wave." Zavrek, who had been listening intently, finally spoke. "The construction of such a device would require resources beyond anything our civilizations have ever attempted, and we would need to trust each other completely." "Then let's start now," Saga declared, her voice ringing with determination. She turned to face the assembled humans and Zarkonians. we stand at a crossroads of cosmic significance. Our differences, our suspicions, they're nothing compared to what we can achieve together. Vixelthor stepped forward, placing a hand on Sara's shoulder. The contact sent visible waves of energy rippling through the air. The quantum entanglement of our souls is proof of our shared destiny. Let it be the foundation of a new era of cooperation. As they spoke, something extraordinary began to happen. The humans and Zarkonians gathered around them started to glow faintly, tendrils of energy connecting them in a vast, living network. The collective consciousness, Sara whispered in awe. It's awakening. Through this newfound connection, ideas and knowledge flowed freely. Humanity's boundless creativity merged with Zarkonian cosmic wisdom, birthing innovations that would have been impossible mere hours ago. Zavrek, his earlier skepticism replaced by a sense of wonder, bowed his head. Very well. In the face of cosmic annihilation, we choose unity. Let the construction of the Eternity Engine begin. What followed was a montage of feverish activity that spanned galaxies and defied the conventional flow of time. Vast space stations were erected in the void between realities, serving as anchors for the Eternity Engine. Human scientists worked alongside Zarkonian cosmic architects, their minds linked in a dance of innovation. The quantum nexus pulsed with newfound strength, channeling the combined will of two civilizations united in purpose. As the final pieces of the Eternity Engine fell into place, Sara and Selthor stood at its control center, their hands hovering over the activation interface. Once we activate this, Sara said, her voice thick with emotion, everything changes. The very nature of reality will be altered. Selthor's mental voice was a soothing presence in her mind. Change is the only constant in the universe, Sara, but now we face it together. With a shared nod of determination, they initiated the activation sequence. The Eternity Engine rolled to life, its energy spreading out across the cosmos in a wave of reshaping power. As reality itself bent and reformed around them, Sara and Selthor held onto each other, their quantumly entangled souls a beacon of hope in the swirling chaos of cosmic rebirth. The universe held its breath, poised on the brink of a new era. An era where the combined potential of humanity and the Zarkonians would reshape the very fabric of existence. And at the heart of it all, two beings from different worlds, united by destiny and an unbreakable bond, stood ready to guide their people into an unknown but promising future. The entropy wave approached, a looming darkness at the edge of creation. But now, for the first time, the light of hope shone brighter than ever before. Cosmic symphony of rebirth. The Eternity Engine pulsed with unimaginable power, its energy cascading across the multiverse in waves of reality-altering force. Sara and Selthor, their minds linked through their quantum entanglement, stood at the epicenter of creation itself. As the entropy wave crashed against the newly formed barriers of existence, a cosmic battle of unprecedented scale unfolded. The very fabric of space-time writhed and twisted, reality itself becoming a canvas for the clash between chaos and order. It's not enough, Sara gasped. Her consciousness expanded to perceive the multiversal conflict. The entropy wave is adapting, finding weak points in our defenses. Selthor's mental voice resonated with determination. Then we must adapt faster. We need to harness the full potential of our united species. Suddenly, an idea sparked in Sara's mind, a concept so radical it sent shivers through the cosmic web of consciousness they shared with their people. The harmonic convergence, she breathed, the words carrying weight beyond mere sound. Selthor's four eyes widened in understanding. You can't mean. We have to, Sara insisted. It's the only way. Without further hesitation, they reached out through the collective consciousness, their thoughts echoing across galaxies and dimensions. People of Earth and Zarkon, their unified voice resonated. The time has come for the ultimate union. We call upon you to join us in the harmonic convergence. Across countless worlds and realities, humans and Zarkonians answered the call. Billions of minds opened, merging into a vast, cosmic orchestra of consciousness. The Eternity engine thrummed with renewed vigor, channeling the combined will and creativity of two civilizations. Reality itself began to sing, a melody of infinite complexity and beauty. As the harmonic convergence reached its crescendo, something extraordinary happened. The boundaries between individuals, species, and even dimensions began to blur. Humans found themselves experiencing life as Zirconians, while Zirconians glimpsed the boundless imagination of humanity. In this moment of supreme unity, a new form of existence emerged, beings of pure thought and energy, transcending the limitations of physical form. The entropy wave, faced with this unprecedented display of cosmic harmony, began to falter. Its chaotic nature couldn't withstand the ordered complexity of the unified consciousness. Saga and Salthor, now existing as luminous beings of pure thought, guided the symphony of creation. Through their link, they wove a new tapestry of reality, one where the strengths of both species were magnified and their weaknesses transformed into new forms of potential. As the entropy wave finally dissipated, dissolved by the power of united will, the cosmos exhaled. The immediate threat had passed, but existence itself had been fundamentally altered. Slowly, carefully, Saga and Salthor began the process of guiding their people back to individual consciousness. But the experience had left an indelible mark on every participant. As beings across the multiverse opened their eyes, some human, some Zirconian, and some a breathtaking blend of both, they found themselves in a reality reshaped by their collective will. Zavrek, now a being of shimmering energy barely contained in physical form, approached Saga and Salthor. "You have led us into a new age," his thoughts resonated. "But what do we call this new state of existence?" Saga and Salthor exchanged a glance, their bond now visible as a dazzling web of quantum filaments. "We are no longer simply human or Zirconian," Saga began. "We have become the cosmic concordance," Salthor finished. As news of their victory spread across the reshaped multiverse, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. But it was more than just joy. It was a profound sense of connection, of purpose realized. The Eternity engine, its work complete, began to transform. It became a living monument, a cosmic nexus, where the infinite strands of reality converged. Saga and Salthor, their forms fluid and radiant, stood before their united people. "Our journey is far from over," Saga's thoughts echoed across dimensions. "Indeed," Salthor continued, "we have only just begun to explore the true potential of our unified existence." As they spoke, new challenges and wonders blossomed across the cosmos, rogue pocket universes, sentient singularities, and dimensions of pure thought waiting to be explored. The cosmic concordance, born from the union of humanity and the Zirconians, stood ready to face these new frontiers. With the power to shape reality itself and the wisdom born of two great civilizations, they would forge a future limited only by the boundaries of imagination. And at the heart of it all, the love and connection between Saga and Salthor continued to grow, a beacon of hope and possibility for all of existence. As the new cosmic age dawned, one thing became clear: the greatest adventures, the most profound discoveries, and the truest forms of love often arise from the most unexpected unions. In transcending the boundaries of species and reality itself, humanity and the Zirconians had unlocked the ultimate potential of the cosmos. The symphony of creation played on, its melody now richer and more complex than ever before, promising an eternity of wonder and discovery for the cosmic concordance.